Hello and welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
We are kicking things off today with a look at your weekend forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta.
We started off this morning very cold, and the temperature just keeps on falling from there. So with our temperatures that remain well below average going forward into the afternoon, those numbers are in a free fall. We will finish out the day with temperatures feeling like they're below zero. In fact, all of that clear air around with the gusty winds will make it feel even colder as we head into tonight. So with today's high happening, well, already happened at 12:01 a.m. in the 20s, it will fall through the teens this afternoon and then the single digits tonight. And remember, that's just the actual air temperature. When you factor in the wind chill, it will feel so much colder. Here's your forecast for this afternoon. Teens up in Sussex County, a midday temperature of 25 in Newark will feel like 5 only with the wind chill, and right around the freezing mark in Belmar and Atlantic City, but those winds really whipping, making for some brutally cold conditions. And that's what comes up in the next few days, with Saturday, tomorrow's weather staying very chilly. We climb only into the 20s by the afternoon and have the wind relaxing later on in the day. So tomorrow is a very cold way to start the weekend. Sunday, however, warms up substantially. We're in the 40s and maybe near 50 as soon as Monday. It's a rapid warm up after a deep freeze that takes us here across New Jersey for the next few days. So bundle up, make sure you stay warm, and especially with that wind, it'll feel extra cold, really like February should. And then we have a milder trend. We'll tell you more about that milder trends coming up with your 7-day forecast. That's in just a few minutes. Kristina?
All right, Mike.
Does not people get sick?
It also said 7 on that screen. I just want to point that out. I know Cara was like, wait, does that say 7?
I'm like, that says a 7, and there's not another number associated with it.
No, and on the next weather, we'll show the little minus signs before the numbers.
This is not what I ordered, Mike. I just wanted like 30 degrees and some snow so I could go skiing.
I know. We'd like to cancel winter, too.
I was going to say, unacceptable. I'm sending it back.
Bye, winter.
Thanks, Mikey.
You bet.
So listen, this is a crazy story.
Yes, it is.
A driver in Woodbridge recently had a scare when he was driving his brand new Tesla. Suddenly, the steering wheel just fell off in the car. How does this even happen? Check this out. In a tweet, the man said that the incident happened just 5 days after he received this car. Luckily, no cars were behind him when this happened on the roadway. He was able to pull over to the side of the road. No one was injured. In another tweet, the man thanked Woodbridge police officers for their help as well. Can you imagine this happening? You're driving along, just the thing comes off in your hands.
If you want to talk about having a heart attack, that'll do it. I mean...
Right.
What?
And a Tesla, so that ain't cheap either.
No.
That ain't cheap.
No.
And you got the steering wheel in your hand.
Really, I don't know. I feel like more and more I'm hearing about like a variety of issues with the and I'm like, what is happening?
Did someone forget a nail or something?
Yeah.
Like, how does that even work?
I just I don't understand how that happens.
Glad everybody's okay.
Yes,
though.
thank goodness.
Crazy.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So this has been great. President Biden was joined in New York by New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy to announce a major transportation project for the entire region. A $292 million federal grant will assist with the early construction of the new Gateway Tunnel project. And the president made the announcement while speaking at an underground rail yard in New York City.
It is incredible to be back with the president, and I want to thank him for his continued commitment to what is unequivocally the most important infrastructure project in our country, the Gateway program.
All told, this is one of the biggest and most consequential projects in the country, but it's going to take time. It's a multi-billion-dollar effort between the states and the federal government, but we finally have the money and we're going to get it done. I promise you, we're going to get it done.
So the grant has been funded by the bipartisan infrastructure bill that became law last year. When completed, the project will double the number of rail tunnels under the Hudson River, and it's expected to make the Northeast Corridor more reliable, notoriously unreliable
Yes.
at the moment.
Of course. And here now to give us a little bit more insight is our own Don Smith, who of course knows New Jersey's roads and traffic better than literally anyone in the state.
For sure.
Truly. So, Don, why is this project so important from the transportation perspective?
So from the transportation part of it, Behr and Cara, and it really is, one of the oldest tunnels, second oldest, I think, other than the one in Baltimore that the president also visited before he came to New York. as far as just the amount of volume of passengers coming from New Jersey, going into New York to work, and vice versa, New York back to New Jersey. It's so heavily used. That's part of the problem, is that you really can't kind of take out one of the tunnels for any kind of repairs without causing catastrophic delays throughout the entire Northeast corridor system along Amtrak. So that's, and these repairs, they'll do them early in the morning, that type of stuff, but it's just a critical spot, and it just really not much has been done for decades, and it really, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for Superstorm Sandy, I don't know whether we're even at this point, because there was such catastrophic damage in the tunnels back in 2012 because of the storm. So whether we would be at that point, I'm not sure. This project has been ongoing, it seems like, for an eternity. Just trying to get jump started, basically.
Yeah.
It basically was thought about back in 2011 when Governor Christie first took office, and there's the plans to continue to push that forward. And it's really been just a seesaw back and forth between how much New Jersey is going to pay, how much New York is going to pay, and how much the federal government is going to pay. And the total, tag on this thing is about $16+ billion.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's huge.
that's what it stands out now in 2023. Who knows what it'll be in 10 years or even 5 years.
Right, by the time it's actually completed.
Yeah.
And Don, what are some of the current troubles facing folks? And I know, I also used to report traffic for many years as well. Amtrak and NJ Transit share a lot of these lines, and so if it goes down, it's not just local commuters. It's a whole massive system that just comes to a halt.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think a lot of folks who use New Jersey Transit maybe either forget or just don't understand, that the tracks are actually owned by Amtrak. So there's a partnership and agreement there between New Jersey Transit and Amtrak. So when you hear something going down in one of the Hudson River tunnels, the tracks and so forth, it's really Amtrak that has to respond to that problem, and that's where things get interesting, and that's sometimes where it takes that much longer to get things accomplished, because now you're waiting on Amtrak, where New Jersey Transit is pretty much the majority of the trains going in and out. Again, Amtrak trains also go into Penn Station as well, but there's that partnership between the federal government and the states, and that's kind of where this all kind of, I think, gets really interweaved so tightly, and trying to unpack all of it between the money and who's responsible for what, I think has kind of been the bottleneck for the last 8, 9, 10 years or so.
I'm not going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Talk about passing the buck.
Well, that's the thing. And then, it's obviously, let's be honest, it's political as well.
Oh,
It's
always.
Just, depending on who's in office and who's not, Governor Christie, when he was there, he was looking at for the times, I think it was like either 2016 or 2017 when he ended up stopping the tunnel. And actually, I think if you go and talk, and you can actually see parts of the tunnel that they actually began to start digging out to start the project. And that is kind of there already. Just the political climate of things. And, do you raise fares on New Jersey Transit? Because raising any kind of transit fares is always a hot button issue. And just depends on the timing of it, whether it's an election year or if you're coming off an election year and so forth. So,
or 40% inflation,
right,
and all kinds of wild things.
Exactly.
Don,
right. And again,
we want to thank you so much.
Sure.
And Don is, of course, live with us every morning, giving you your live local traffic reports every Thursday and Friday morning. So we appreciate you. Thanks so much, Don.
Sure, you will.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be, it's about time.
It's about time.
Waiting a little too long. So there's a new bill in the state Senate that could change how telemarketers operate here in New Jersey. So if passed, the bill would require telemarketers to identify the name and phone number of the person they're calling for in the first 30 seconds of the call. And telemarketers would also have to disclose their mailing address on their websites.
This is a great one.
Yeah.
They're just, it's too much.
It's overwhelming at this point.
Yeah.
It's constant.
Yeah. And it gets to a point where it's like I've missed actual important phone calls because I let it go to voicemail because I think it's a telemarketer.
Right. And because they're able to get those local numbers now.
Right.
They're able to just kind of like dial in and create those fake local numbers. And you're like, is this my doctor
don't
calling
have
me?
time for
is
you.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then it's like, you get that recording.
Yeah, so that's a good
Yeah,
thing
that'll be a
to
good
happen. Well, the Monmouth County SPCA recently helped care for an alligator that was found in a parking lot in Neptune. Crazy story. Here now to talk about it is their executive director, Ross Licitra. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Ross.
Good morning, ladies. How are you? You look great in red, by the way.
Oh,
thank
thank
you
you.
very much.
You as well. Tell us a little bit.
There you go. He got it.
SPCA.
He got the memo for sure. Tell us a little bit about this insane story and what exactly happened with that alligator.
Yeah, so on January 15th, on Sunday evening, we do the animal control for Neptune Township, Asbury Park, that whole area, the county SPCA does. And we received a call for a Good Samaritan who found an alligator in a Tupperware container abandoned in a lot next to their house off of Bangs Avenue in Neptune Township. So, of course, obviously, our animal control people responded, and they found a juvenile alligator about 3 feet long in this black Tupperware container. And of course, we took custody of it and interviewed the Good Samaritan, this gentleman Angel Rosario, who found the alligator. And basically, his story was he was a young man, and he said as he was walking back to his house, he noticed something that was out of the ordinary in the lot next door. He looked into the container and found this alligator. So, as you know, the Monmouth County SPCA is one of the premier humane law enforcement divisions in the state, out of the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. And of course, immediately our law enforcement division jumped on this because if it was a true story, it was an abandonment. It was on a freezing cold Sunday night. And, as we all know, alligators and those type of animals are, indigenous to warm weather and could never survive in this type of weather on their own. I have to tell you from the very, 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 very beginning, of course, my background being a retired detective from the prosecutor's office for 30 years and the former chief of humane law enforcement before I became the executive director and county commissioner, immediately we thought this story was suspicious. So
your spidey senses were tingling, huh?
It doesn't take a whole lot of spidey senses for this one. I mean, who would abandon an alligator on Bangs Avenue in Asbury Park? There's so many other,
so random,
so many other better areas. So, of course, our law enforcement division of the SPCA, which are all retired detectives and police officers who work for the county SPCA, out of the prosecutor, and we quickly were able to determine after we put the news press out, we put the Good Samaritan's name in there purposely with the fact that we started to receive phone calls from people saying, "Hey, wait a minute, this Mr. Rosario has a friend who has an alligator." And so okay, that's not a difficult case to solve. And sure enough, when we did identify Menendez, he was the man who actually did have the alligator. The story was that he bought this alligator at a expo in Pennsylvania where it's legal. It's not legal here in New Jersey. He took this little alligator home to his house in East Orange, and he raised it to where it was about 3 feet long, and then he got evicted out of his apartment. And then he brings it to Monmouth County in Twinbrook Apartments with a bunch of other friends of his, and subsequently they're getting evicted out of that apartment. And Rosario says, "I'll take it." And so he takes the alligator and he goes home to his parents, and his parents are like, "Are you out of your mind? You can't have an alligator in a house." So they all concocted this story that they found this alligator in the lot over. So, but I want to make this clear, and I said this in all the original interviews that we did, even though what they did was horrifically wrong by making a false police report, they did do the right thing by notifying the authorities. I mean, they could have abandoned the alligator.
I was going to say they could have truly abandoned it,
somewhere in a pond.
They could have put it in a pond. They could have let it go in the woods, which of course ultimately it would have died. And so as wrong as they were for making up this false police report, we're glad that they did turn it over to us. And of course, we were able to get the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife involved immediately. They took custody of the alligator. And what I understand is that it's been transported to the Cape May Zoo and then from there heading to Florida. So where it belongs. So at the end of the day, it's a happy story. We did charge, or we didn't, the New Jersey Department of Fish and Wildlife charged Menendez with having a species illegal in New Jersey without a permit to do so, and we haven't charged the Good Samaritan or his family with filing a false police report on this end. So again, we knew right from the very beginning there was something suspicious here. But the overall message here for everybody is, these animals, as luring, as tempting they are, when you see these at shows, they grow up, and they need very, very specialized care. And there's no one around here that can do that. They in with the proper authorities, like the zoos or a reptile farm in Florida.
And not for nothing. I mean, ultimately, at the end, this is a predator.
Yeah,
this is
that 3-inch or however 3-foot guy is going to be.
It's cute when it's this big. It's terrifying when it hits 8 feet long.
Yeah.
Well, listen, ladies. I have to be honest with you. When I was in the room with it, when my animal control officer was this big, stocky guy who was holding this alligator, I was scared.
Yeah.
I was afraid that thing would get away from him.
He's got a lot of teeth
running down the hallway.
Yeah.
You'll lose a hand or a finger with this size alligator as it is. I mean, it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us some of the great work you guys are doing right now in terms of animal care, not just in Monmouth County, but across New Jersey.
Of course. So, the Monmouth County SPCA is, if I may say so, is the leading animal welfare organization in the state of New Jersey. I mean, we have such a beautiful shelter. We have over 6,000 animals that come through our shelter every year. I'm proud to say last year we had a 98% save rate.
Wow.
Doing all the great work we do. We have a full-service medical center. We're one of the largest veterinary centers in Monmouth County to offer low-quality vet care for anybody that comes in. We have noticed over our years of enforcement that there were animal cruelty cases for people who just couldn't afford veterinary care. And our board of directors and myself, along with all my workers at the SPCA, in 2017, we launched this full veterinary center. And I got to tell you, it has been unbelievably successful. And the beautiful part about that model is the little bit of money that we do make. We do have about a 25 to 30% profit margin. Every nickel of it goes over to the shelter to care for the animals that are in a shelter that has nobody to care for them. And that's about an $800,000 a year medical bill that's a gaping hole that we need to fill. So this offsets that about $300,000-$400,000 a year. And the rest, of course, obviously, we do through fundraising. So the SPCA and many of my other associate shelters throughout the state, do our very, very best to educate the public on, humane treatment of animals, making sure, there's such an important part of our lives, all of us. We all, I own a farm full of animals and all my years in the prosecutor's office, that's how I got to the SPCA. I wound up buying a piece of property, a farm to help rescue farm animals for the shelter.
Oh, wow.
And and that's ironic because people always ask me, how'd you wind up from the county narcotics strike force, homicide, gang units to taking over the Monmouth County SPCA? And there's very few people I don't know that don't love animals. And,
right,
it's true.
There's nothing political about them, which I love. There's our politicians on both sides of the fence support us tremendously, which we're so proud of. And it's just a really great good place. And I encourage anyone to come down to see us in Eatontown, 260 Wall Street. You can get a great tie like this at our thrift shop for $1, and it's just really a wonderful place. And I'm proud of this. We have nearly 100 employees that work at the SPCA and about 400 volunteers. And, we've been around for 77 years. 77 years.
Good stuff. Hey, Ross, if somebody wants to volunteer, if they want to adopt an animal, I will scream it from the rooftops, adopt, don't shop.
Yep.
My rescue dog is the best person I've ever met in my life. Where do they go?
Yeah, they come, they can go right online, the monmouthcountyspca.org. They can sign up for our volunteer program. We have orientations, periodically as we do, and we bring them in. And as far as adoption, just come down to the shelter. We are open 7 days a week.
Nice.
Our adoption hours start at 12 o'clock. We have night hours on Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are night hours till 7 o'clock. So for those of you, most of us are all working until at least 5.
Yep. So
to come down. And, we'll be happy to help you with anything you need. And we have everything, cats, dogs, of course, obviously, small furries, rabbits and ferrets. And
just not alligators.
The alligators got to go back to Florida.
No.
Yeah.
Ross, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We so appreciate all your information and for sharing that story with us and how you guys handled it.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I like I said, I will forever go. If you want a pet, go. Even if you want a purebred something, there's breed.
There's
specific
adoptions.
rescue groups. Go rescue one.
Yeah.
They need a home, and nobody will be better to you. I promise.
Yep. Oh, that's 100%.
All right, let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta. We can get a little bit of an idea of what to expect weather-wise.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about a very warm winter so far. You guys have mentioned there's flowers blooming here across New Jersey
My allergies
in January.
are insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
I keep sneezing. My eyes are
Allergies, they
itchy.
typically fire up. But when you have so much warm weather and a warm trend, that's what we've been seeing. So when we look at the long term, we think of climate, and you've heard a lot about climate change, but how is that affecting us here in New Jersey? And that's what's something that we look at, especially going forward in time. The month of January broke a record for record warmth. It was 44 degrees on average during the month of January, and that shattered the old record from way back in the 1930s of a 42-degree average. Typically in January, it should be in the mid-30s. So here we are finishing off the month of January with so much warm weather, and you may wonder, how does that impact us? Now, Cara mentioned allergies. That's a big part of what to expect in future winter warming. There are earlier blooms, there's more pollen, and yes, it makes for a very uncomfortable feel, especially if you're an allergy sufferer, with all of the really impressive allergies that have been happening so far, even early this season. So pollen is definitely a big part of that. But there's other impacts too, such as those that wanted to go skiing. We've got some big ski resorts here in New Jersey, and yet it really hasn't been cold enough at night for those ski resorts to make the snow and the, to turn on those snow cannons, because it has to get down to a certain temperature, even up in Sussex County and out in Warren County, where most of the state ski resorts are. Furthermore, we're probably going to see bugs earlier this year, and not just mosquitoes, but those that carry more of the disease types of diseases. So if you'd have a tropical type of winter with milder weather, less freezes, Cara and Kristina, this is typically becoming a problem, and something we've seen more and more. And, Cara and Kristina, I've been hearing anecdotally from people saying, why are we seeing such warm weather? Why are we seeing, these rare and weird things happen in the wintertime? Well, it's just that little bit of warmth that's aiding in a long-term warming trend that's causing problems here in New Jersey. So I know you've seen it too. Have you tried? Are any of you skiers? Have you tried going skiing?
I haven't. No, I didn't bother to. I didn't even bother to buy my pass this year, just because Mountain Creek, which is the one I usually go to, they normally do a sale in November. And they say the tickets on sale until Thanksgiving Day or the first snowfall, whichever happens first. And it
hasn't been.
We haven't had snow.
Yet. Yeah. It's been absolutely insane. Mike, is this something to be concerned about?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is this going to happen for next year as well?
For certain industries, yes. Now we do have some extremes. Last winter we had some very cold months, and then January of this year it was a very warm month. But the long-term trend is, I think, really what we need to focus on, and that's why I want to show you the next graphic of what Newark, for instance, has seen, because some nights in Newark have been very mild in years past with these warmer than average temperatures. However, some of the nights have also been much colder down here. However, there have been 5 fewer nights of freezing temperatures in the last few years in Newark, and even in other places, more urban areas like New York City. How about other places in New Jersey? Look at this, for instance, down in Atlantic City, 16 fewer nights of frigid weather. So there's definitely a warming trend in the long term, and that's something that we're keeping an eye on going into February and March, to see that we'll probably have warmer weather with a very fast warming season during the winter months.
I'm hoping that it doesn't go the opposite way, Mike, and then all of a sudden we just get snow in April and like a dumping, and then we're just like, what happened? Everything just got moved back.
That is my uneducated prediction.
Right.
It's a fear, but you think about what we've seen so far during January and February, how it's already appearing to be like what March typically does, where you have some really mild afternoons that it feels like middle of springtime, followed by a pretty chilly morning. So maybe we'll see this trend continue.
Yeah. Crazy.
Fascinating, Mike.
Yes.
I love going to Professor Mike's meteorology class. I love it.
Absolutely. Here all the time. Oh, and on the website, AnnaandJay.com.
Always.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike, thank you.
You bet.
Hey, did you hear Valentine's Day is coming up? I personally hate it. I've always hated it. But you know what? A new report from Wallet Hub ranked New Jersey as the 7th best state in the country for single people. So there's some positive here. The study looks at factors like dating opportunities, restaurants per capita, and the crime rate. New Jersey was 7th in dating opportunities and 8th in romance and fun. The Garden State didn't do as well, though, when it comes to dating economics, finishing 22nd in that area.
Well, that's because we have more restaurants, but they're also more expensive.
Right. And then, of course, the whole inflation thing.
The inflation thing is not helping either, but yeah. So,
interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, sticking with Valentine's Day, Point Pleasant Beach is bringing back its annual Show Us Your Heart scavenger hunt to celebrate. The event will be held in the shopping district and will feature a downtown bingo hunt, crafts, entertainment, and prizes. To participate, families have to register in advance at pointpleasantbeachnj.myrec.com. That kind of sounds like a lot of fun.
That's cute.
I always like the family thing around
stuff.
Valentine's Day, because I just always felt, I'm like, you kind of want to celebrate love in all of its forms, and it's just, that's such a solid way to do it.
Yeah, and it's, you always want to say, oh, it's all year round, but, it's nice when there's, like, little kids involved. They can get, they can participate in things like that.
It's like something fun for them to do. Yeah,
sure.
Otherwise it's just to push chocolates in carts.
Which I'm about all year round.
I was going to say, chocolates I'm never mad at.
Yeah. Well, up next, how one school district in South Jersey is helping their community gear up for the Super Bowl.
This is cool. Plus, what some lawmakers are doing in light of a wave of dead whales washing up along the Jersey shore.
And you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
You're watching On New Jersey, the Garden State source for news, talk, sports, and entertainment.
We have big news here for On New Jersey.
We have an amazing show tonight, as we always do.
We are here at the iconic Drum Thwacket in Princeton with First Lady Tammy Murphy.
Will audiences be expecting you to talk Real Housewives issues?
We're going to be discussing everything from working with small businesses to mental health initiatives.
Work has begun on the New Jersey Hall of Fame at American Dream Mall.
Here now to give us some more insight on the Giants' 5-1 start is Paul Patino. Paul, great to have you back on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder.
Watch the Italian America Show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on News 12 Plus and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch the Italian America Show on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
Welcome back. A dozen mayors from towns along the Jersey Shore have now signed a letter asking for a moratorium on offshore wind development after an 8th whale died off the coast this week. Preliminary findings from NOAA indicate that the latest whale was likely killed after getting hit by a ship, but there are concerns that the state's offshore wind farms may be contributing to the deaths of these whales. So State Senator Vince Palestina is joining us now to talk about what's being done. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Senator.
Good morning. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, listen, I mean, obviously something's killing these whales. What is going into the investigation for that?
So we've asked for a halt to the offshore wind activity. They're doing 2 different things related to the offshore wind development. Sonar work to determine, the depth of the water, and then drilling geotechnical work to see how deep they have to put these monopoles into the ocean floor. And so we've never seen the type of deaths of these whales we've ever seen in history. And so we're asking for a stop to the work for a 30-day period. We can get full necropsies on the whales. We can also figure out what they were doing it, where they were doing it, when they were doing it, so we can make sure there isn't a correlation, because there is a lot of concern from mayors, from us, from others, that some of the offshore wind work is impacting where these whales are going, and potentially they're getting.
So what would be the impact of the wind farms if they're shut down? What would be the impact to the environment and the studies that they're trying to do?
So I've only asked for 30 days. I don't think the first construction of these is projected for 2025 or 2026. So, a 30-day break doesn't seem like would have a huge impact on the schedule ultimately. And we think it's the responsible thing to do.
So why do you think some environmental groups are opposing shutting down the wind farms while the whale deaths are being investigated?
They pointed, the NOAA statement that they don't have any direct connection, using the word direct, of course, because we're concerned about indirect, where this work or this activity is, pushing the whales into a different location. But they're pointing to the NOAA statement of no direct impact, and they're also pointing to climate change as this issue that is such a bigger concern than the whales dying. And so those are the two things pointed to at their press conference.
Your district, obviously along the Jersey Shore, right? What type of impact has the offshore wind farms so far had in your community?
So we're not, the work is going on offshore. You hear some people pointing to the possibility of some of the shaking and the vibrations that we have going on in some of the areas in Atlantic County being a correlation with offshore wind farms. But most of the work is going, 10 to 15 miles out offshore. So there hasn't been a huge impact. Obviously, we're in the winter now, so there isn't a lot of people at the shore or at the beach. But come summertime, those impacts are certainly going to ramp up.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
absolutely. Senator Kristina, thank you so much for joining us today. We so appreciate your time and your insight. Thank you again.
Anytime. Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
So here's some good animal news for you, right? The harbor seal is being released from the Marine Mammal Stranding Center after spending the last month in intensive care. There she is, or he is. He was being treated for respiratory issues. Not only is the seal feeling better, he's also eating better. The staff says the seal eats up to 9 pounds of fish a day. This was their only patient.
It's a hungry boy.
And they said he's in much better health. By the way, his little snout is in the shape of a heart. So they said it's perfect timing because they're going to be releasing him back into the ocean, back to his natural habitat in the month of February.
Sea pups, I love them.
They're adorable.
They're so cute.
So good to see him doing well.
Yes, absolutely. Glad to see. And that's such a great facility too for our marine life. They do wonderful work.
They do great work, yeah.
So also, this is a cool story too. A school district in South Jersey will have a delayed opening the morning after the Super Bowl. The decision was announced in a letter to families earlier this week. School officials say the move will allow students and their families to watch the Eagles play the Chiefs without having to go to bed early. The game is scheduled to kick off at 6:30 next Sunday night, and obviously,
genius.
Yeah, good chunk of South Jersey,
idea.
Huge Eagles fans. This is massive for them.
Right,
2 years in a row.
I feel like though, so many people have petitioned. There have been petitions in the past to move the Super Bowl to Saturdays. People have signed these petitions.
Yeah, either move it to Saturday or make the Monday after,
or make it earlier,
like a federal holiday. Yeah, or put it earlier in the day.
So I think this is genius. I think the workforce should also follow suit and have a delay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because sometimes the games when they're really close, they last until 11 midnight, and then people are still out celebrating. Not me because I have children, but it all comes together, and you want for restaurants that are holding these parties and they're holding these watch things. They want the business. They want people to stay. They don't want people to leave. So I think it would be a good thing,
especially in the communities where the teams would have a major fan base. At a minimum.
So brilliant idea.
Good stuff.
Love it. Hey, you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
You're watching On New Jersey, the Garden State source for news, talk, sports, and entertainment.
We have big news here for On New Jersey.
We have an amazing show tonight, as we always do.
We are here at the iconic Drum Thwacket in Princeton with First Lady Tammy Murphy.
Will audiences be expecting you to talk Real Housewives issues?
We're going to be discussing everything from working with small businesses to mental health initiatives.
Work has begun on the New Jersey Hall of Fame at American Dream Mall.
Here now to give us some more insight on the Giants' 5-1 start is Paul Patino. Paul, great to have you back on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder.
Watch the Italian America Show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on News 12 Plus and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch the Italian America Show on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
Welcome back. Let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta for one last check of your weekend forecast. Hey, Mike.
Hey there, we've got some really cold weather ahead for this weekend. So we started off this morning with the wind chill. Temperatures are in free fall this Friday afternoon. And then tonight, get ready to get really cold. Hope you bundle up, bring the extra layers, or maybe just, stay indoors tonight. I don't know if it's worth going out when you have wind chills below 0 for most of our Friday evening. Now, going into tomorrow, the dangerous cold continues. There are wind chill advisories up in Sussex County, even over through western Passaic County, so really cold stuff. The good news is it doesn't last long. It rebounds by Sunday, and temperatures will be back in the 40s as soon as Sunday. Beyond that, there are no storms on the horizon, so we are quiet weather-wise going into the next few days. And even on the 7-day, I'll show you that forecast coming up in less than a minute. Want to show you what's going on in the long-range outlook. The month of February, this goes right through the end of the month, the 28th, has a slightly better than average chance of being above normal for temperatures. So we may actually have a warmer than average month, even though this cold that comes in is quite below average. And you can kind of tell how cold it'll be when you look at these weekend numbers. Highs on Saturday, 25 degrees in Morristown, 26 in Newark, but it'll feel like the single digits when you take in the wind chill, and the winds last right throughout Saturday afternoon. Now, Sunday on the right side, you see the 40s. And while it's dry and sunny, won't be as windy, 46 degrees in Trenton in the middle of February is actually not the worst thing in the world, considering how mild we've been and how cold it will be later tonight into tomorrow. Let's take a check of that 7-day forecast. With so much sunshine ahead, there really are no storms. Yes, I know that 7 really jumps out at you for later today into tonight. It's going to be a very cold overnight into tomorrow morning. But once we get beyond that, temperatures will slowly rise throughout the day on Saturday, climb into the 40s on Sunday, and we could hit 50 by Monday, a dramatic rise, and it stays in the upper 40s and low 50s through most of next week. So not the worst thing in the world when you consider just how cold it'll be here across New Jersey and how short that cold will be around. So hope you stay warm, Cara and Kristina. We've got really pleasant weather ahead for next week, and maybe those daffodils and the bulbs will keep blooming as they have been in the month of January here in New Jersey.
Sad every time I see the green sprouting, and I'm like, stop,
I'm like,
just
wait,
pause.
we're not ready
Too
yet.
early. Right. Yeah, go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep. All right, Mikey, thank you so much. You go back to sleep.
Bye.
So school officials in Paterson are offering bonuses of $7,500 to attract more new teachers to work for them. It's starting to pay off.
Yeah, since the bonuses were authorized late last year, NJ Advanced Media is reporting that 149 teachers have taken jobs with the Paterson School District. Now, a job fair is being held on February 15th to help fill the remaining openings. They still have a lot of vacancies, they said, that they need to fill, but 149 ain't that bad. That's pretty good.
That's
some
pretty
incentive.
good, and quickly, yeah, absolutely.
So,
a new report from LawnStarter.com says Newark is the second dirtiest city in the United States. The report ranks 150 cities using 4 categories: pollution, living conditions, infrastructure, and consumer satisfaction.
Yeah, Newark was ranked 5th in living conditions and 3rd in consumer satisfaction. As we mentioned, the city did much better in infrastructure rankings and doing better than 96 of the 150 cities. I've never heard of LawnStarter, but I mean, it's interesting that they did that study and they took the time. What does it say overall? What's the message?
Yeah.
Infrastructure and pollution and more climate friendly, things in the area.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Absolutely.
buses, cars, all of that.
You know,
So.
it's tough when you're in the shadow of an international airport.
Right. And it's a major city.
And it's a major city.
Right.
And
transportation hub. And
the largest port in the country is, right next door.
Right.
And
so there's a lot to go into.
It's a lot to navigate, for sure. All right, guys, that does it for us today in the New Jersey Morning Show. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. We'll see you back here next time.